Hello, everyone. They know what they did. And what I'm picking up on as I tune into this energy is the guilt is eating them alive, not surface regret, deep, visceral guilt, the kind that keeps them up at night, that makes them replay the moment over and over, that makes them see your face when they close their eyes. They know they hurt you, they know it was wrong. And they're carrying that knowing like a stone in their chest. But here's the thing, you don't care, or maybe you do care, but it doesn't change anything because the damage is done. They broke something in you. Something that used to be open is now closed. Something that used to be soft is now hard. You used to trust, used to believe in people, used to give chances, and they ruined that. They're the reason you can't anymore. Let me read what actually happened. What did they do that created this guilt? For most of you watching, this is betrayal. Someone you trusted proved untrustworthy. Someone you believed in proved they weren't who you thought. They lied, they cheated, they chose someone else. They talked about you behind your back. They broke a promise. They violated your boundaries. They took advantage of your kindness. They used your vulnerability against you. And the worst part, you didn't see it coming. You were blindsided. You gave them your trust freely, openly, completely. And they knew that. They knew you trusted them. And they violated that trust anyway. They made a choice knowing it would hurt you. And now they have to live with having made that choice. The guilt they feel, what does that actually look like? What the reading is showing me is they're probably thinking about you constantly, not in a romantic way necessarily, in a haunted way. They remember your face when you found out, the look in your eyes, the hurt, the disbelief, the moment you realized they'd betrayed you. That image is burned into them, and they can't escape it. They might be trying to justify what they did to themselves, making excuses, rationalizing their behavior. I didn't mean to. It just happened. They made me feel. I was going through something. All the standard bullshit people tell themselves to avoid facing the fact that they chose to hurt someone who didn't deserve it. But underneath the excuses, the guilt remains because they know, deep down, they know, or they're punishing themselves, sabotaging their own happiness, staying in situations that don't serve them, not allowing themselves good things because they don't feel they deserve them after what they did to you. The guilt becomes a prison, a punishment they impose on themselves, and while part of them wants to reach out and apologize, another part feels like they don't deserve forgiveness, so they stay silent, stay guilty, stay stuck. Some are talking about you to their friends, to their therapist, processing what they did, trying to understand why they did it, trying to figure out how to make it right or whether making it right is even possible. Your name comes up in their conversations, your situation, what happened between you, and everyone who hears about it probably tells them the same thing, that they messed up, that they should apologize, that they need to at least try to make amends. And you, where are you in all of this? What the reading is showing me is you're changed, fundamentally changed. The person you were before this happened doesn't exist anymore. That person who trusted easily, who believed people when they said things, who gave chances without requiring proof first, who loved openly without walls, that person is gone. They killed that person. And what remains is someone harder, colder, more guarded. You don't trust anymore. Not just them, anyone. They broke your trust, and somehow that broke your ability to trust in general. Now, everyone is suspect. Everyone gets questioned. Everyone has to prove themselves over and over. You're constantly waiting for people to disappoint you, constantly looking for signs of betrayal, constantly protecting yourself from experiencing that level of hurt again. And it's lonely, living behind walls, keeping people at distance, never fully letting anyone in because you're terrified of what happens when you do. You want connection, but you can't risk it. Want intimacy, but can't afford it. Want to believe in people, but the evidence says you shouldn't. So you stay protected, stay safe, stay alone. Their guilt doesn't fix this. That's what you need to understand. They can feel as guilty as they want. They can lose sleep. They can punish themselves. They can regret it every day for the rest of their lives. And none of that repairs what they broke in you. Their suffering doesn't undo your damage. Their remorse doesn't restore your ability to trust. What they feel about what they did is irrelevant to your healing. Should they apologize? Maybe they already have. Maybe they're planning to. And if they do, you get to decide how to receive it. You're not obligated to forgive, not obligated to make them feel better, not obligated to release them from their guilt just because they finally found the courage to say sorry. An apology is for them to give. Forgiveness is for you to give if and when it serves you. Those are separate things. What you do with your broken trust is up to you. You could stay broken, stay guarded forever. Never let anyone close again. Protect yourself so thoroughly that no one can hurt you, and you'd be justified. What they did to you was real. The hurt was real. The betrayal was real. Building walls makes sense when you've been wounded that deeply. Or you could choose to heal slowly, carefully, not by trusting everyone again, but by trusting selectively, by learning to read people better, by setting boundaries, by requiring consistency before giving trust, by understanding that one person's betrayal doesn't mean everyone will betray you, by recognizing that staying closed forever punishes you more than it protects you. Healing doesn't mean forgetting, doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen, doesn't mean letting them back in. It means processing the hurt until it doesn't control you anymore, until you can think about what happened without feeling destroyed by it, until you can trust again, maybe not as easily as before, but enough to have real connections without constantly expecting disaster. Their guilt is their problem. Your trust is yours. They don't get to determine whether you heal from what they did. They don't get to apologize and make it all better. They don't get to unbreak what they broke just because they feel bad. They made their choice. They live with their guilt. You make your choice. You live with whatever that choice is, what the reading wants you to know. You're allowed to be changed by this. You're allowed to be harder, more careful, more protected. You're allowed to have walls. You're allowed to withhold trust until it's earned. You're allowed to be different than you were before they hurt you. That's not weakness. That's adaptation. That's survival. But you're also allowed to soften eventually. When you're ready, if you're ever ready, you're allowed to decide that their betrayal doesn't get to dictate the rest of your life. doesn't get to prevent you from ever connecting deeply again, doesn't get to make you hard forever. You can choose to heal, to trust again, to risk again, not stupidly, not without protection, but enough to actually live instead of just surviving. And if they reach out, if their guilt drives them to apologize or explain or beg for forgiveness, you decide. You decide if you even want to hear it. You decide if their apology matters. You decide if you're willing to engage at all. You hold all the power here. They took your trust. They can't take your choice. That's still yours. Someone feels guilty for what they did to you. Good, they should. And you don't trust anymore. That's understandable. That's the natural consequence of being betrayed. But don't let their guilt or your walls become the whole story. You're more than what they did to you, more than the hurt they caused, more than the trust they broke. You get to decide who you become after this: protected and alone, or healed and open, or something in between. Whatever you choose, make sure it's your choice, not their guilt determining it, not their betrayal defining it. Your choice, your healing, your life,